Good morning. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. So have you ever walked into a space that makes you say, holy cow? Not once, but over and over. That's exactly what happened on Wednesday evening when a group of our student leaders stepped off of Hello Walk, came in those doors, and they got their first glimpse. They got that sneak peek, and they saw what you are seeing now. So good morning and welcome to this much, much anticipated occasion. The back of your program highlights the history of this building and the extraordinary man for whom it is named, James Earl Carter, father of President Jimmy Carter, who was a GSW student here in 1941 and 1942. First constructed in 1971, the James Earl Carter Library has served generations of Georgia Southwestern students. That's thousands of students who have walked through its doors in the pursuit of knowledge, discovery, and opportunity. James Earl Carter's granddaughters, Kim Fuller and Jana Carter, and many of their family members are here with us this morning, and I'd like you to stand and just be recognized for the incredible impact that your family has had on GSW, Sumter County, our state, our country, and our world. So let's recognize the Carter family, please. I think they're a little shy to stand, but we appreciate y'all so much. Today we celebrate the next chapter in this library and of that legacy. This transformation took over 10 months, and it breathes a new life into a space that has long been the heart of this campus. So with state-of-the-art technology, open and collaborative study areas, and resources designed for student success, this modernized library will once again become a destination for all GSW students. So when those student leaders walked in on Wednesday evening, their faces, I will never ever forget the look on their faces. And I asked them, as they explored every corner of this building, I asked them to share in a word or two how they would describe the new James Earl Carter Library. I heard amazing, refreshing, comfortable, creative, motivating, encouraging. I heard it's a place where I can be productive. And I love this one. This student said, "This is our academic weapon." I loved it. Another student said, "Wow, this was so worth the wait." And I love these final two. "I can't wait to come here and study." And another student said, "I'm going to be here all the time." The groundwork for this $6.2 million renovation began more than 3 years ago during President Neil Weaver's tenure. This project required extraordinary collaboration. And this is the time where I get to say a lot of very important and heartfelt thank yous. We're grateful to Chancellor Sonny Perdue and to the Board of Regents, to Governor Kemp, our legislative delegation, Senator Freddie Powell Sims, Representatives Mike Chokas, they're here with us today, thank you very much, and also Patty Marie Stinson for championing this investment in our students. Our project partners have been absolutely outstanding. McMillan, Kasdan, Smith Architecture. The talented team behind this design can proudly add the James Earl Carter Library to their impressive portfolio. You created something that we can all be proud of. Thank you. And to Garbutt Construction, thank you so much for your hard work and for making sure that we completed this project on time and in budget. Thank you so much. And a very special thanks goes to Jeff Hall, our Vice President for Business and Finance, to Jen Smith, our Director of Auxiliary Services and Special Projects, and to Physical Plant Director Joe Castonia, who have spent many, many hours in conference rooms, on calls, and on site, coordinating every phase of this project and ensuring that this vision became a reality. Dr. Rachel Abbott and Dr. Gay Hayes, representing academics and student affairs, they worked hand in hand to ensure that this space would serve the broad academic, social, and developmental needs of our students. I also want to express a deep appreciation to our Director of Library Services, John Wilson, and the entire library staff for their incredible flexibility, patience, and dedication throughout this renovation process. You made sure our library during that 10 months never truly closed because you worked from temporary workspaces and you kept all of our important library services going during that time. Thank y'all so much. So many important people here. Everyone in this room is important. Our faculty, our staff, our students, our community, leaders, and also members of our foundation boards and our foundation and alumni boards are here with us today as well. So thank you all for your support and what you mean to GSW. So to our students, I'm going to get emotional because y'all are absolutely incredible. This building was renovated with you in mind, and we hope that you feel proud of what has been created for you and for future hurricanes. We have a lot of premier, wonderful places on this campus, but today we are adding a really, really big one to our list. Today we don't just cut a ribbon. We open doors to countless futures that are yet to be written. Welcome to the next chapter of the James Earl Carter Library. And now it is my honor to introduce our Chancellor of the University System of Georgia, Dr. Sonny Perdue.
Holy cow. Wow, isn't she something?
Yes, she is.
We are happy to have Michelle Johnston here in Americus, Georgia, Georgia Southwestern, bringing great leadership. Michelle, you do a good job. We're so proud of you and the work that you're doing here. Proud of all these students out here. I'm so impressed today that you students are here. I know it's homecoming week, a lot of excitement here on campus there, but that's you're the reason that we're here. You're the reason we're cutting a ribbon. You're the reason for this whole renovation in that way. I want to thank my old good buddy there, Miss Sims. You know who you are. Freddie, thank you for your support, and thank you for your support in the legislature and doing the work there. Mike Chokas, hometown hero here, thank you, and appreciate your wife's work on the faculty here as well at Georgia Southwestern, and we very much appreciate it. When I came in, you all got one of these, right? I asked the young lady, I said, what is this? She said, a bookmark. I said, really? Will it work on my iPad? Because that's what the change that we're seeing here. Libraries aren't the libraries that we went to school with, but the modern welcoming place that you so aptly described with your students' testimonies, Michelle, was really what happens here. I was, if you look at the history here, I'm going to address this to Garbett today. I was pretty much, as a physical conservative, I was really impressed with the $1.5 million cost originally, 54 years ago there. So we want to, Freddie and Mike will tell you that's what we're striving for in our state of Georgia as well. And go, I'd like to go back to some of those good old days at $1.5 million. But it is a great day, and obviously this place, having been here since 1973, representing a great family and the legacy of your grandfather and great-grandfather to to this community, having served on the Board of Education, the impact that our civic citizens that are who gave back to the communities and Board of Education and those kind of things is important. So it's really important that we memorialize those names in our communities across Georgia who gave so much. Obviously, we'd like to say also giving us a President of the United States of America through the courage and conviction that was in that household for many years prior to President Jimmy Carter running for president. He got that grit somewhere, and I can assure you it was at probably the feet of his father, James Earl Carter, in that regard. So we're happy here to celebrate this and to cut this ribbon. Michelle, you did such a great job. I'm not going to go on, but to tell you students, I hope you will do all those things. I hope you'll stay here, come here, rest here, relax here, socialize here, and learn here, because that's really what has hopefully been provided here for you in a modern context. I mean, you've got so much library in your pockets in this little computer you carry around there now, but you can come here in a quiet, peaceful way and to learn what it's really like to in that transition period. Michelle, one former chancellor, used to say, our colleges and universities are the best halfway house known to man. So that's as you become through here, beginning adulting there, learning to adult in that way. This library is going to be part of that, where you learn not only to read and to study, but also to reach out to your friends and maybe your not so friends to understand what life is all about in that way. So we're delighted to be here today. I'm happy to be here to support Georgia Southwestern, President Michelle Johnson, and this whole community. Americus is pretty special in that regard. So you got a lot to be proud of, and I'm just happy here to be happy here today, to be proud to be with you, to be on this campus and to see what's going on, the energy, the excitement, the university culture that's here, Michelle, is a real credit to you and to this community of what's going on here, how students from this whole region can come and get a great education, prepared for a great career, and really just stay here in this whole region. That's really our goal, is to educate these young people close by here, where they can get a world-class education right here, but then come back and contribute to our communities in South Georgia and all around this region. So I'm happy for what you all are doing. I want to thank the faculty and staff of Georgia Southwestern for the dedication and the passion you have for helping these students move through this period of time in their lives where they can become productive citizens. Thank you all. God bless you.
Well, I also want to say this looks nothing like it did when I was in school here. You see on the back of your program when it was dedicated. I remember I was here when it was dedicated in 1973, and then I came back to school here in 1976. I went to a junior college first and then came here to further my education. And Stephen and I were talking about I didn't know it went that far back, to be quite honest. And we were talking about the little rooms upstairs. I don't know if they're still up there or not. And Stephen said that's where the only place he could study, and I was about the same way. You'd have to lock yourself in that room so that you didn't have all the stuff around you and people talking so that you could study. It was right here where, when my daughter decided to cut her hair one night, the payphone rang over here, and one of the librarians came and got me, and I went over there, and my husband was on the phone. He said, Mandy just cut all her hair off, you know. And, you know, so there are a lot of memories in this building, the way it used to be. A lot of us as grandchildren of Granddaddy and Grandmama, we didn't know Granddaddy because he died in 1953. Before a lot of us were born. There were about 4, I think, who actually knew Granddaddy. But that doesn't mean that we didn't know Granddaddy, because my Grandma Carter was very good at reminding us and making sure that we knew who Granddaddy was. You know, we knew that he was very well loved by all of the people who worked with him out at Archery. She was always telling us about how he was on the Board of Education. Education's always been very important to us and our family. He was a man who was a civic leader. He loved peanuts, of course. He did all kinds of things. And she always made sure that she told us that she and Granddaddy never went to bed mad. Every night, if they were mad at each other during the day, they made sure that they were not mad when they closed their eyes and went to sleep. That was one of the things that they always did. So we were always making sure that Granddaddy was in our lives, and we were always very, very proud of that fact that he was there. Now, I can remember when I was on the campus here at Georgia Southwestern, and we'd come in to study and all this kind of stuff, I don't know how many times somebody would come up to me and say, "Oh, isn't it nice that you get to study in a library named for your uncle?" And I would say, "It's not named for my uncle." "Oh, well, how do you know?" "Well, because I just know." "Well, who's it named for then? There's no other James Earl Carters." I said, "Well, my granddaddy was James Earl Carter." "Oh, well, why is it named for him?" "Well, then you'd have to explain why it was named for Granddaddy." "Oh, well, is that such a big deal?" And back in the day, maybe, to a lot of people, maybe it wasn't. But Granddaddy was a driving force in this community. He, like other people have already said, he was very civic-minded. Education was very, very, very important to him. Several of his grandchildren, well, his children to begin with, and his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren have walked through the doors of this library and studied way into the night, trying to make sure that they got their degrees. When I was in graduate school, I don't know how long I stayed up here. Lots of times when the library would close, I was walking out the door. They were coming through and making sure that we were leaving. I had an opportunity to teach on campus. I don't know how many times I brought students in here to study themselves. I'm like you, Dr. Perdue. I cannot understand why people don't tote books in their hands anymore. I like my Kindle and my iPad just as well as the next person, but a book, I like to smell a book, I am very proud of what's been done here. Thank you, Dr. Johnson, and thank you, Georgia Southwestern.
Good morning. Okay, can you hear me now? I'm short. Good. It is unbelievably humbling to stand in this space, at this place of academic prowess, at this time, to ceremonially present to all this distinguished library, a place of deep reflection and intellectual stimulation in honor of the enduring legacy of President Jimmy Carter. Through the dedication, let us always remember that education was the great equalizer that propelled a Plains, Georgia peanut farmer to the highest political office in this country as President of these United States of America. President Carter profoundly believed that education and compassion were transformative, living and demonstrating those tenets throughout an endless array of his great works. He worked for peaceful solutions and democracy for all. It is with deep, abiding hope that President Carter's examples continue to motivate others everywhere, especially in the hallowed halls of Georgia Southwestern State University. The state of Georgia is honored to call this native son our 39th president of these United States of America. And in closing, I want the chancellor to know that in asking for appropriations, he taught me years ago as governor, without knowing that he taught me how to ask for appropriations. I would always go into his office when I was allowed to go in there because I was very young state rep at that time. And I would take a box of tissues, okay? And we know why you take tissues when you go to ask for appropriations, right? Because you gotta beg a lot and you gotta drop some tears on the desk and on the floor. And we have always been successful, Representative Chokas and myself, in getting those things that were needed for Georgia State Southwestern University. And we are proud to represent you in the legislature in the state of Georgia. So thank you, and it's an honor to represent you. Thank you, Chancellor.
Good, good. Chancellor Perdue, President Johnston, Senator Sims, guests, dignitaries, faculty, staff, and especially the students. This is a great day at GSW. I mean, it really, really is a great day. I want to say a few words about my experience in the legislature under, at that time, Governor Perdue. Before he became secretary, before he became chancellor, you've worn so many hats, but we're so grateful for those hats that you've worn. Senator Sims was very accurate in her description going to see the governor. I remember going into his office, and I didn't take tissue, but I sure was shaking like hell. I can guarantee you that. It was wild. But some of the changes that he has done through the university systems has been very subtle, but been very, very effective. And I've had the opportunity, being on higher education and also in the caucus, to hear his wisdom and to see what he's accomplished. And Dr. Johnson, I think that your success here is largely due to the chancellor's mentoring and guiding, and so we're grateful for that. Very, very grateful for that. I wear the hat of state representative out and about, but as y'all all know, my wife, Dr. Gaynor Chokas, is the dean of the College of Business and Computing. So once I step on campus, especially on Tuesdays for the Rotary Club meeting, my title changes to Mr. Gaynor. So it's wild, and I want to talk about this facility and share with you that that it is beautiful and it's preparing our students for the future. And it's so aptly described, Dr. Johnston, the way you did it. 2 weeks ago, I was in Atlanta at the for a tour of Sage Software, and it's a business software company, and they develop software for multiple business, small business, large business, medium businesses, and their work environment is almost identical to this. They have different sections, different team areas. They've got office space for private meetings. They've got even cubicles if one person needs to be on the phone talking. So we are at the cusp of what the future is. And I saw this with my own eyes, and it was built at Pont City Market, and it's a great facility. So this not only is your library students, this is what your future careers are going to be modeled after. And this is going to be your workplace. So it's very, very good. I'll close with a story, and I guess this is more towards the faculty and staff. When I decided to run for public office back in the dark ages, back in '04, I went in to see my mother and I said, Mom, I decided that I'm going to run for public office. And there's a seat that's open, and I was going to run for state representative. And she looked at me and she said, well, it's about time. And I said, what do you mean it's about time? She said, I've known since second grade that you were going to run for public office. And I looked at her and I said, Mama, how did you know that? And she says, when I got that report card and it said talks too much, I knew you were going to be running for public office. So with that being said, I'll take the hint. Congratulations, Dr. Johnston. Congratulations, students, faculty. I appreciate y'all being here, and y'all are really going to enjoy this. Go Canes. Thank you.
Well, this is a great crowd, and I was talking to a few people before, and they mentioned the same thing. I said, well, at Georgia Southwestern, this is a family. This is a community. It's not just words that we say. Our faculty and staff believe that, and I think this is a good testament to that. I know there's probably a lot of freshmen in the room. I just want you to know, where the library is now. You can't say 30 years from now, I didn't know where the library was, because you're here, okay? And you're right, Kim, this was the only place I could study. Yeah, absolutely. I have the distinct honor of closing the program and telling you who needs to be in this first picture, okay? So when I call your name, if you would, just make your way up here behind the ribbon, and after we take this first picture, I encourage all the groups, members of the contractor staff, architect staff, library staff, whoever would like a picture up here in this area, please come. But for now, let's just start with these individuals, okay? Dr. Johnston, Chancellor Purdue, Dr. Abbott, Dr. Gay Hayes, Mr. Jeff Hall, Avnika Harvey, Sean Moxley, Mr. Garbett, John Wilson of the library, Jen Smith, Senator Freddie Powell Sims, Representative Mike Chokas, Kim and Jana, and all of the Carter family. If y'all would make your way up here behind the ribbon, we'll take this, we'll cut it.
Will you also let people know what's going to happen after that?
Oh, yes.
They can go
Yes.
upstairs, they can-
Yep. And as soon as we're done taking pictures, the full library will be open for tours, and we encourage you to make your way around every square inch. Thank you.